Come on down here, Mags. Okay, so time for another drawing live stream. Hi, I'm Jersey Drozd, BoulderandFleet.com. Jersey Drozd on Instagram. That's JerszyDrozd. Okay, so time for... Make sure I pause that video on my preview. Alright. Hey, Mags, come on down. My cat's crying at me. What are we drawing today? We're drawing Pickles and Taft. This was penciled in... what was it? Layer Paint HD on the Galaxy Note 10.1. I finished it in Clip Studio Paint on the Vio Z canvas because the Note 10.1 was getting a little bit creaky. You know, it was just like, it was getting laggy and slow. What am I using to ink it with? What am I inking this image with? Or with what tool shall I ink this image? Probably gonna stick with these guys. This is these Pentel color brush pens, and then the Pentel Tradio plastic pen. It's like a nib pen, but with plastic. So I printed this out on Hammermill color copy cardstock, and I guess I can get started because I don't have a whole lot of time to do this. Here we go. Come over here, Mags. You guys can hear my cat cry at me while I work. She likes to talk with me while I'm working. Yes, sweetie. Yeah. Hang on, I gotta do a drawing first, and then you and I can hang out. I know. Max. Sweetheart. What? Come on. Alright, I'm gonna pause this for a second. I'm gonna go get Maggie something to eat. This is great live streaming. Come on, kiddo. Come on. Come on. Let's get you something to eat. Alright. The beast has been fed. I guess since I've already had this interruption, I can share this out to Twitter real quick. And tweet. No, don't ask me to follow people on YouTube. Okay. Now, let's resume inking this. I'm trying to do, and I've been struggling with this for some time now, for weeks. Trying to incorporate warm-up drawing into my day as a means to force myself to slow down and not engage with the day in a sense of panic. There's a lot of stuff to do. We're all super busy. We've all got lots of things we'd like to do. We all have personal projects that we want to give more time to, and we all have personal and professional obligations to meet. And I find that whenever, this is speaking only for myself, when I engage with them in a state of panic, or a rushed, or aggrieved state of mind, I don't do a very good job. It winds up usually taking me longer to do the thing than if I just made a purposeful pause, to borrow language from Kate Shields Stenzinger of the Art and Science Punks podcast. Take a purposeful pause and collect myself before engaging with it again. Engaging with the work, that is. So that's what this is about. This is about me getting to draw something that is fun for me to draw, pleasurable for me to draw, but also to just slow down for a second. And I find that when I do make the time to do this, that, again, I can only speak for myself. I'm not going to prescribe any way of living to anybody else, but speaking for myself, that when I do this, I'm a lot more efficient at taking on all the things on the to-do list. This is a way of, like going for a walk, like doing any kind of like physical exercise, like doing the dishes. It backs me out from that noisy headspace and sets me again to like a focused state of mind. Whoops, look at that. Made a mistake. If you're not familiar with these characters, this is Pickles and Taft, who are also adventurers for hire. I did a mini comic about them last year, and it ran on the Boulder and Fleet website. They're like, ugh. They're in world with those characters. I hesitate to use that kind of language because that language gets has a tendency to get used a lot in comics. But yes, in the end of the Pickles and Taft mini comic, Fleet makes an appearance, sort of to emphasize that, yeah, in this comic, Boulder and Fleet, there are lots of adventurers for hire. This is a line of work that many people take on. And actually on my personal website, jadrose.com, there's a link in the sidebar to get a PDF of Pickles and Taft. It's only an 8-page thing. It's like download at a price of your choosing, I think. I'm pretty sure that's how I did it. Yeah. And it's also in my Amazon store. If you do a search for my name on Amazon, you can get it for the Kindle. But if you want to get the hard copy, the place to get that is tinyastronaut.com. Oh, so many URLs. Why is it only there? Well, that takes you to the Etsy store because it's a photocopied mini comic with a screen printed cover. All right, what do I want to do first here? Did that make that look too delicate? I think it might have. I think it might have made this smoke look less kinetic and more fragile. That's a bum out. I don't know. I'll play with it some more before I'm done. Alright. Let's get you... See, the thing about these color brushes is it's got the ink filled in this soft plastic chamber, and you just give it a little squeeze and it fills up the brush tip. Get this one good and wet for some of these outer contour lines. I love how quickly you can go from thick to thin with these brush pens. Let's see. Trying to move my computer back so I'm not whacking it with the paper every time. See if I can get this close to the camera. Have you guys seen this okay? I've got a preview window up. I can sort of see it. Oh, I hear Maggie's coming back. Yeah, there she is. Hey, Mags. Hey, hi. Do you guys, if anybody watching or listening, ever see that documentary King of Kong about like the competitive video gaming guys? You guys who are going for the record in Donkey Kong, and they show that scene. If you haven't, if you have seen it, you know what I'm talking about. There's a scene where the guy going for the Donkey Kong record is videotaping himself playing the arcade game, and then suddenly his kid comes in the room, and you hear him in the background screaming, "Daddy, wipe my butt." And the guy's like, he's like 2 inches away from getting the record, you know, he's right on the cusp of getting it. And yet this kid screaming, "Wipe my butt, quit playing that game and wipe my butt." Um, I feel like this is that moment. Well, not even close, but it's a fun comparison. Yes, Maggie. She's a very chatty cat. And she's got bags of personality, which is why I've based a character on her in Boulder and Fleet. You know, I don't know if I've ever... Have I? Oh, of course I have. I was going to ask myself, like, did I ever draw these characters on paper? Yeah, I know I did. Because actually they were... I wound up creating them during Inktober a couple years ago. And I just drew this little pig on a battle tortoise. Had no idea what they were going to be called yet. Or maybe I did. Now I have to go back and look. Come on, sweetie, come on. I need my lap right now. Yeah, I do. Let's see. This is the part of the day where I have one hand down towards the floor to pet Maggie's face while I try to draw with only one hand. I mean, yes, you draw with one hand, but you know, usually you use the other hand to stabilize the page. I've drawn a lot of comics this way over the past 15 years, haven't I, Mags? Yeah. Alright, Mags, I need both hands for a second because I gotta draw a straight line, okay? Hang tight. I'll be back. Alright, let's try to do this. Here we go. Not too bad. Do you guys hold your breath when you do that? Because I know I do. Alright. on time. Oh dear, I wanted to be done at 1:30. That's not going to happen. I think I got a late start though. So, all right. Getting there. I'm nervous about taking Pickles on, as if you couldn't tell. A lot of delicate lines on her. Okay. Oops. Where did I see? Ah, that's where I screwed up. There we go. Alright, let's draw Pickles. I got some white out there still, and I'm worried about brushing with my hand. Alright. There is like a tiny bit of wobble that happens in my lines when I ink on paper. That doesn't happen as much when I ink in Clip Studio Paint. I think partially because, and I know I've talked about this in other live streams, the digitizer on the BioZ canvas, which is a, oh, what is it called? An N-Trig digitizer. It's the same kind that's on the Surface Pros. There's a tiny bit of software wobble, like a line wobble when you draw like slowly in the applications. You can turn on like line smoothing in Clip Studio Paint. I forget what it's called. Line stabilization. That's it. To compensate for that, but between that and the fact that the digitizer rewards speedy strokes, like the faster your stroke, the smoother your stroke. So doing these kind of lines like on Pickle's face here, like there's a tiny bit of wobble there that is just like a natural vibration of my hand, contact with the paper, friction, and so on, that you don't get digitally. It's harder to get digitally, let me just put it that way. I'm sure there's ways to mimic it, but... And for some reason, like some might say, well, why not just let the wobble that happens on the digitizer, like that, the line wobble, why don't you just let that happen? Because it doesn't look as natural as this for some reason. It's more irregular, I guess. Maybe it's more regular. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe it just happens like frequently enough that it looks like a mistake rather than like just like a human inconsistency in a line, if that makes any sense. I always get to the end of my sentences and I wonder if I've even said anything. almost done with my contours, and I'm going to do detail work. I'm not 100% sure that Pickles' pose silhouette's all that great, but you know what? I had about 10 minutes last night to do this before I fell asleep. Alright. So, I wasn't going to monkey around with it too much. Let's use my wet pen to fill in Taft's eye real quick. And then we can start filling in the rest of the details. And I've got another of the same pen here. I think this one's not quite as charged. Charged meaning it's like the brush isn't as loaded up with ink. Yeah, that's just making that smoke look, or that dust look like really thick and heavy. I am not crazy about it. I should have just left it as a contour outline. I forget what kind of tortoise I looked up to design Taft. I don't think he was a Galapagos tortoise. Whatever kind it was, they're kind where you got these big burly front legs with all these little tank tread kind of scales on it to help them propel themselves forward. And then their back legs are really these tiny things. I know a lot of tortoises have that. But I was taken by what a difference it was between the front and back on this particular kind of tortoise. I remember when I was doing the Inktober design, I was like, oh, what would a battle tortoise look like? So I was doing searches. Found that image, and I'm like, yeah, this guy, he's got legs where it's like his legs could almost be shields. All right. I like this idea of these two best pals being adventurers for hire, but also like one of the best friends is basically the RV, right? He's carrying all their stuff. He's like both horse, best friend, and business partner. I mean, Bravestar did that. And actually, I think I'm kind of borrowing a lot from Bravestar now that I think about it, because 3030 was a pretty grumpy horse. time. Oh, I'm catching up. Catching up. I'm sitting in a weird position because of my camera. Let me see if I can. There. Okay. What is it, Meg? I'm pretty sure the tortoise that I based Taft on didn't have these funny spiky things on their shell. Maybe something like that, but I don't think it was nearly that pronounced. That was a artistic liberty I took in order to make them look more interesting. Yes, Maggie? Also, again, thinking about he's a battle tortoise, so maybe his species is evolved and sort of optimized to be a fighter. Maggie, come on, kiddo. There's some dry brush stuff. Ah, just realized I made an error in the drawing. There's a strap that goes from the top of the harness down his back, and that's where all their camping gear hooks onto. Otherwise, what is that sleeping bag thing attached to? Nothing, that's what. That's right, Mags. Get your character design down, pal. There. Max, come on, that's my camera tripod. Sweet pie. Come on, come here. Oops, that was not what I meant to do there. Maggie, stop. You know what? I'm going to incorporate that into the drawing. Sometimes this is what was it Bob Ross called these happy accidents? Probably. That sounds like a very Bob Ross thing to say. Taking a little error and using it as inspiration for adding to the piece. Because, yeah, he's a battle tortoise. He should be scuffed and dinged a little bit, right? Maggie, please. Come on, kid. I suspect it's because I'm talking that she's suddenly showing an interest in me. I talk to Maggie a lot. Whoa, 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 whoa. I was saying okay as if to say like, oh, you're just about done with Taft here. I'm like, nope, I'm not done with Taft. That's why I said whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm saying whoa, whoa, whoa because drawing is just so exciting. Yeah. Okay. Let's finish this part, and I think we're just about done with Taft. Right? Maybe. Putting a little pouch underneath the sleeping bag thing there. There we go. Now he looks like a scuffed up and flinty old tortoise, right? This is a tortoise that's seen some things. Now let's get Pickles' face done, and then we can wrap the stream up. Pickles also, I meant for her to be like always like scuffed and scratched up, like some people have asked if like that's dirt on her when they read the comics, like, oh, is that because I just do like that kind of thing, that little bit of a hatching thing that you do to indicate like scuffs and scrapes. And that wasn't the idea. It's like, oh yeah, she's a pig, so she's dirty, right? I could see. I gotta work on that because that is a natural conclusion what would come to when looking at the character. What I'm trying to do here is just show that she's graceful but careless. Is how I see her. So she's got these scuffs and scrapes because she's constantly getting herself into all sorts of trouble and hurting herself a little bit. Because while she is an awesome action hero, she's not always the most thoughtful one. That's what I like about her. I was just trying to like incorporate something into the design that reflects that. Somebody bumps their head a lot, and when they bump their head, they laugh about it, because she doesn't take herself terribly seriously. She's a joyous person. And this is like standard buddy comedy kind of stuff, right? Like, so Taft is the one who takes himself pretty seriously. We're not talking Felix and Oscar here, but he's grumpy. He's annoyed. But he cares about his friend. A little smush in there. And I like those kinds of stories. I like stories about pairings of people who are like, one of them is sweet and demonstrative, and the other one is how do I put it? More withdrawn. But they each have their own way of showing how much they care about each other. Those are fun kinds of interactions. Oh, thank you, Himura Star. This is Hammermill copy, color copy cardstock. I found out about it from Jake Parker. I'm sure you can find his YouTube videos easily. It's MrJakeParker.com. He has a section on his site that shows all the materials that he uses, and this paper is listed on there. There's a link to where to order it, I think, on Amazon. But I mean, you can get this paper if you're, in North America at most office supply stores. I got mine at like Office Max or something like that. And it's like a Bristol. It's like a little lighter than a Bristol, like weight wise. But so it runs through printers really well. So like I penciled this digitally, and then I printed out the blue lines on my printer. But it's got a very, very smooth surface. So if you're like not into if you feel like tooth on your paper, I would actually recommend against this, because this is almost, it feels almost like receipt paper, like that smooth. So it's Hammermill is the brand you're looking for. Oh, let's see. Looks like we're almost done. Gotta do some soft brush inking on, or dry brush inking on Pickles. Maggie, come on. My cat is trying to climb up my back. Come on, Maggie, come on, get up. And a few more details on Pickles' staff thingy that she's using as a pole vault. And I think I might be done. Oh yeah, you're welcome, Star. Anytime. So this will be posted on my Instagram after I scan it and take out some of these little ink smudges. Thank you for watching and hanging out with me. I've been Jersey Drozd of BoulderandFleet.com and Jersey Drozd on Instagram, JerszyDrozd. Well, you can see my name right there in the YouTube, right underneath the YouTube video, right? It's just that name on Instagram. That's where I post a lot of my art, and I encourage you to follow along there. Sometimes I post in progress stuff there as well. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the stream. Thanks again, everybody, for hanging out with me. Till next time. Okay, bye.